Tonight on the South Today, nurses and primary healthcare workers are taking to the streets in frustration to protest pay and conditions. They say everyone has a book in them, and a Dunedin teen has proven that 3 times over. And southern scientists are seeing what makes seashells tick when taken off the seashore. Kia ora, good evening. I'm Hannah Wilkins. Nurses and primary healthcare staff took to the streets around the country yesterday, demanding they be paid the same as their counterparts in hospitals. They say they're paid up to 25% less, despite having the same qualifications, training and responsibilities.
Angry nurses and primary healthcare staff took to the streets around New Zealand, demanding they be paid the same as their hospital counterparts. Primary healthcare nurses work at general practices, after-hours emergency centres and Plunket, amongst others. They say they're paid up to 25% less, despite having the same qualifications, training and responsibilities.
That has to be an improvement of the terms and conditions so that people aren't migrating from one place to the next simply because of an hourly rate, which is really common.
The rally is part of the New Zealand Nurses Organisation's Meringa Mai campaign, launched in May, asking for wage stability across the entire healthcare system. They are calling on the government to urgently provide funding and properly value them. Registered nurse Jeannie Randall says the work they do keeps people out of the hospital system, which would cost the government more in the long run.
It's becoming increasingly difficult to attract and keep nurses in primary care when they do not feel valued. They end their days exhausted and dissatisfied as they feel unable to give the care they know their patients require due to low staff numbers.
The New Zealand Nurses Organisation is planning more rallies if their concerns aren't addressed. In Christchurch, the South Today.
A coroner's inquest began this morning into the death of a 26-year-old Dunedin man who's believed to have died due to a rare heart condition 12 days after being vaccinated against COVID-19. Coroner Sue Johnson told an inquiry at the Dunedin District Court this morning it accepts Rory James Nairn's death was caused by myocarditis, which was likely due to receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. The inquest heard the late Dunedin plumber had not been warned of the risks of myocarditis. Mr Nairn died in his home he shared with his fiancée Ashley Wilson on November 17, 2021. Wilson said she made her agony was made worse by the barrage of online abuse due to the controversial nature of her fiancé's death. The inquiry is expected to conclude next week. They say everybody has a book in them, but one Dunedin high school pupil has already proven he has more than just one. 15-year-old Kavanagh College student Tom Davies has published 3 books since 2019, but he says he's now looking into another way of storytelling.
Showing the results of a few years of extracurricular writing. At 15 years old, Kavanagh College student Tom Davis has already published 3 books, although his writing career began earlier than that.
I've always liked writing when I was young. I wrote books before these, but these were kind of more developed than those.
The Lizard Trilogy, which he wrote and illustrated, is a series of books aimed at readers aged 7 to 13, following the story of Scale, a jewelled gecko who goes on a fantastical adventure. Davis says he's always liked expressing his imagination through writing and drawing, but had never tackled anything longer than a short story before the trilogy. But these days he's on to bigger and brighter things.
Well, I've kind of gotten into digital animation and stuff more recently, and so yeah, I'm kind of moving into that instead of writing, so I'm focusing more on the art side.
Davies donates a portion from every book sold to charities, including the Caritas Cyclone Relief Fund and, most recently, Ukrainian refugees. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Southern Police are stepping up their speed enforcement efforts as part of a move to reduce New Zealand's road toll. Police are changing their policies on speed enforcement. Inspector James Ure says police across the south are set to issue infractions even where drivers are travelling just above the posted limit.
Over this coming spring and summer, our 600 uniformed staff are going to be very active on the highways, with an ambition to reduce our deaths and serious injuries.
Science shows that a reduction in driver speeds from 110 kilometres per hour to 100 kilometres would halve the number of fatal crashes. Inspector Yor says the ultimate aim of police is to ensure that people get home safely. Scientists at the University of Otago have invented an easy and affordable way to extract DNA from snail and seashells. Their new technique will pave the way for a better understanding of the ecology of mollusk populations, both past and present.
Unlocking the secrets of New Zealand's molluscs. In recent decades, DNA studies have become essential for understanding how species are related to each other. Up to now, it's been a challenge for researchers to extract the DNA out of dried shells, but University of Otago postgraduate student Kerry Walton and his team are about to change all that. They've developed a new way of getting DNA from shells, and a first trial has proved both affordable and very effective.
We were quite pleasantly surprised to discover that our method was about 350 times more efficient than the sort of methods that had been published previously, and that our success rate was 100%.
There's about 4,000 species of snails and seashells in New Zealand alone, but not much is known about them, with some species only known from 1 or 2 shells found on a beach or forest floor. Walton says the improved DNA analysis will help scientists understand how the different species are related to each other and will give a better understanding of ecosystems as a whole.
Understanding what species you're dealing with, how the different populations are structured, is absolutely fundamental to almost all biological sciences.
The genetic research may also help build a picture of how the diversity of molluscs has changed since humans first arrived in New Zealand, helping the management of shellfish and snail populations in the future. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Whaiakene, still to come on the South Today. A massive boost for the Alexandra Ice Skating Complex to the tune of $350,000. And with spring blooming early in Gore, school kids are busily picking daffodils for charity.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put Some Colour in Your Life. Tuesdays, 7:30.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Shall I make some scones?
Tēnā koe, welcome back. The third and final stage of the upgrade for the Alexandra Ice Skating Complex has received a big boost. The Central Lakes Trust has announced a grant of $350,000 to the Ice and Line rink. The grant will go towards providing a roof over the skating rink. The new cover is an effort to extend the rink's season by up to 6 weeks and fewer days cancelled due to weather. The Trust additionally gave out major funding boosts to both the Roxburgh Swimming Pool and Cardrona Snow Farm. A group of Gore school pupils who planted daffodils in their school grounds earlier this year are now seeing them bloom. They're busy picking the flowers and selling them to raise funds for the local Cancer Society of New Zealand.
Harvesting flowers they planted as bulbs earlier this year. Pupils from Longford Intermediate near Gore have raised about $50 so far for the Cancer Society of New Zealand by selling the daffodils they've planted around the school.
I just love that we can give back to the Cancer Society and the community.
The pupils are all members of a group that aims to do acts of kindness and care for others. Pupil Kim Green says the group's always keen to try out good deeds they haven't done before.
Well, it encourages people to do things that they couldn't do before, or think they couldn't do, and it's just going to be really nice.
And if looked after, these daffodils are likely to keep on flowering for decades to come.
Well, I love this project. Personally, I think daffodils are my favourite flower, and I'm just excited for the years to come back here. And I think it'll just be really cool to just see them sprout up again.
The Otago Southland Cancer Society says daffodils are a symbol of hope for the many people facing cancer. In Gore, the South Today.
Rugby players battled it out in Alexandra on Saturday for an historic Really Seen Silver Cup. Upper Clutha Rugby Colts in yellow fought against the evenly matched Alexandra side in green for the Bob Scott Cup. The event, which is a junior rugby challenge, was first held in 1966. The competition disappeared from the local rugby calendar in the 1990s, but was revived last weekend with a one-off game between Alexandra and Upper Clutha. The final score was 31-5 to Alexandra. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Frustrated nurses and primary healthcare workers took to the streets protesting about their pay and conditions. Kavanagh College student Tom Davies has published 3 books and is now looking into other ways of storytelling. And a shoal of southern scientists are seeing what makes seashells tick when taken off the seashore. And now a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, and we welcome the Associate Editor Jo Simpson. Kia ora, Jo.
Kia ora.
What's in your paper tomorrow?
We've got the latest in the Rory Nan inquest, the Dunedin plumber who died 12 days after being vaccinated.
Yes.
An inquest has heard that he was not warned of the risks of myocarditis. Following the delays caused by COVID, a development of Cargill's Castle, which will allow tourists to walk around the historic site, is expected to start next year. Southlink Service is about to expand its medical workforce by 40 without having to wait for students to train. A successful trial, Southlink is rolling out new automated health kiosks. And spring is due to arrive tomorrow, but winter's digging in its claws and we're expecting snow.
Are we really? Gosh. Okay, we look forward to reading those stories in your paper. Thanks, Jo.
Thank you.
And time now for a look at the weather.
The South Today weather, proudly brought to you by MoleMap, the skin cancer detection specialists.
Looking at the situation, fine weather continues this week as nor'westerly airflow prevails. Then colder southwesterly airflow will arrive at the weekend with widespread showers. Heading to the top of the South Island, it's looking fine with northerlies through here tomorrow. Gorgeous with 18 in Nelson, 15 and cloudy over in Greymouth, while Christchurch is the place to be tomorrow here with a high of 19 degrees. Travelling to South Canterbury and North Otago, the warm weather continues. Ashburton and Timaru are both knocking on the door of 20 degrees tomorrow. And further south in Uamaru, it's looking much the same with high cloud and nor'westerlies and up to 18 degrees. Westwards now to the Central Lakes. Cloudy and the nor'westerlies really start to pick up as we move through here. Wanaka heads for 16, 15 in Queenstown and 17 degrees for Alexandra. Heading further south, strong nor'west winds swirl through these parts too and will also come with a spot of late rain. 15 degrees the high for Balclutha, Gore and the Catlins tomorrow. Now down to the deep south. Cloudy and windy tonight in Invercargill, down to 8. Tomorrow brings strong nor'westerlies and cloudy skies with a chance of late rain, up to 15. And Thursday's a bit cooler with 14, but the showers will clear, leaving a sunny and breezy afternoon. And lastly, heading to Dunedin. Fine tonight, down to 7. Wednesday's a mild one with fresh northerlies and high cloud in the afternoon, the high 16 degrees. And into Thursday, a mix of sunny periods and some high cloud with more northerlies, heading for a lovely and warm high of 18 degrees. And that's the news this Tuesday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. We'll see you again tomorrow. Ka kite popo.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.